Hi, I'm Lauren Williams. I am a registered dietitian from Texas, and today I'm going to be making a recipe that would be great for somebody who has FCS or if you're cooking for somebody with FCS. First and foremost, I want to thank the sponsors of this, Arrowhead and Ionis. You can find the recipe for these Mahi-Mahi tacos below. For now, I have one to help me. We are going to start by making the pineapple salsa for these tacos. It's gonna go over the top of our mahi-mahi in the tacos, but you do wanna let it marinate in the refrigerator for a little while, so let's make it. We're gonna start with some pineapple. We're gonna give it a small chop. You do wanna dice everything about the same, but also we're not perfectionists here. So a very small dice on your pineapple here. I'm gonna give it a little bit just to show you, and then we have some TV magic that will happen. Okay, so about like this. Everything nice and small because they are pretty small tacos, they're street tacos. So if you have everything a really big dice, then you're not going to have very much in each little bite. So, through the magic of TV. So grab a medium to large bowl so that you can put all of your ingredients together. We're going to add in about 1 diced pineapple. So add in your pineapple. Then you're going to want to add in 1 diced red bell pepper. Again, finely dice everything. Half of a small red onion. Sometimes the red onions that you can buy at the grocery store are huge, so measure with your heart, but the red onion does cut through pretty well, so you might want to start small and then increase if you would like. And then 1 jalapeno. Ribs and seeds removed unless you're really, really tough with spice, but again, that's something that you can adjust based on your flavor preference. 3 tablespoons of lime juice, and then about 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Again, measure with your heart. Gonna mix that all together here. I love the colors in this. It's one of my favorite parts. So for folks with FCS, they do have to have very, very low fat. This whole recipe is gonna be about 1.5 grams of fat, but it does depend on the street taco tortillas that you buy. So just be really mindful whenever you're looking at the nutrition facts label for that. One thing though that I find with a low fat diet is that sometimes you have to keep it a little bit interesting with either colors or flavors to make the food more fun whenever it's low fat. So we're gonna pop this in the refrigerator and come back to it later once our fish is cooked. And now we're gonna make the seasoning rub for the fish. So I'm gonna get all of my little guys over here. In a small bowl. We're gonna start with 1/2 tablespoon of paprika. Fun fact, if you don't have a 1/2 tablespoon measuring spoon, you can do 1.5 teaspoons. That's the equivalent. So we're gonna have 1.5 teaspoons of paprika, and then 1/2 teaspoon each of onion powder, garlic powder, some salt. If you do have somebody who needs low sodium, you can adjust the salt based on your own flavor preferences or needs. Some oregano, and then black pepper, and then a pinch of cayenne. If you don't love a lot of spice, you can either leave the cayenne out or you can just do a very, very, very tiny amount. Mix it all together. Now we're gonna put it on our mahi-mahi. So this is about 1 pound of mahi-mahi that you're gonna use. And I'm gonna use some gloves. You don't have to use gloves in your own kitchen. You can just wash your hands afterward. But, gonna grab a cutting board and then get each fillet of mahi, set it on your cutting board, and you're gonna season all of it. Just distribute the seasoning rub evenly. Another really, really important thing, you're probably seeing, we're not adding any additional fat. So by broiling it, you're not having to add any oil or anything like that to a pan. And it's gonna be really, really important whenever you do broil the fish to use a non-stick cooking sheet. So, seasoning these a little bit on both sides. It doesn't have to be perfect. So now we will put the fish on the cooking sheet. So we're gonna pop these in the broiler for about 8 to 10 minutes or until the fish is cooked through and flakes easily with a fork. While the fish is cooking, we're going to create a drizzle for the top of the fish. Again, we're imparting a lot of flavor. Just because you don't have fat doesn't mean you can't have flavor. So let's go ahead and make the drizzle that goes on top. In the meantime, we are going to put these on corn tortillas. And if you don't heat up corn tortillas, if you're not used to cooking with them, if you try to use them whenever they are cold, they're gonna break. So we're also going to get a pan and heat those through. So here's our corn tortillas. We're gonna set them off to the side while we make the sriracha drizzle. We're gonna start with some Greek yogurt. And I think it goes without saying, this is fat-free Greek yogurt. And it is plain, so no flavorings there. So add that. Okay. You're gonna need the zest and the juice of 1 lime. So we're going to do a little bit of lime zest and some lime juice. You can use a super fancy juicer. I just use whatever cooking utensil I have on hand. Probably making every professional chef cringe. Fun tip, if you have limes that don't seem to juice very well, you can pop them in the microwave for just a few seconds. Not very long, don't leave them in there, but you can pop your limes in the microwave for just a few seconds to kind of get the juices flowing, so it helps. And then 3/4 teaspoon of sriracha. Again, if you don't love spice, this is something that you can adjust to your flavor preferences. I don't like a ton of spice. I'm a little bit lenient on the sriracha here, but you can add more if you'd like. And then we're gonna add a pinch of garlic powder, more or less, depending on how much you like garlic, and then a pinch of salt. This is about the consistency that I would look for. However, if you want it to be a little bit thinner, you can thin it out with a little bit of skim milk. We're gonna put that off to the side and we're gonna heat up our tortillas. While your tortilla is heating up, let it sit for a little while and then you're gonna flip it. You can use a fork and I would recommend it, but I'm from Texas and this is how we heat up our tortillas. While this tortilla is heating up, I'm gonna clean up my space. And let's assemble some tortillas. You don't need the fancy little taco stand, but how cute is this? So with the tortillas warmed up, they're nice and pliable, so they're not gonna break on you. Set up your tortillas. It's actually going to be 3 per person. We're gonna assemble 2 in our cutie little taco stand. Take your fish out of the broiler. And we're gonna flake our fish with a couple of forks. Okay, once you've flaked your fish, put a little bit into each taco. One of the things about the diet for FCS is that sometimes it can leave you feeling a little bit hungry because you don't have that additional fat. These I find to be actually really filling because of the protein that's in the fish, and then also because you have all of that really great flavor from the different components, the salsa, the drizzle on top. And we're gonna take our salsa out of the fridge, and add it over the top. Add as little or as much as you'd like. I like a lot because it adds a lot of flavor. And then last but not least, the drizzle. We did add some additional non-fat milk to this to kind of thin it out a little bit so you can get that nice drizzle over the top to make your taco look really fancy. Because we eat with our eyes first, right? So it has to look good. And there you go. Your little mahi-mahi fish tacos that have all the flavor, but only about 1.5 grams of fat.